Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Star Wars Stuff Podcast, where we talk all things Star Wars. My name is David.
I'm Sam.
I'm Brooke.
I'm Rae.
And the lead story today is a story that actually happened a couple weeks ago, and I was just kind of waiting on what the blowback was going to be and if we got any developments on it. But Bob Chapek accidentally said there was a Han Solo project in the works, but then quickly corrected himself and said, no, Boba Fett. So is there a chance that there's like some Han Solo stuff happening in the background we just don't know about yet? Was he maybe thinking about Lando? I know it was Solo 2 Happen Day around that time period. So do you guys think that there's something happening?
I could see so I don't really feel like we need like a Solo 2. Like, I don't know if we need to explore Han Solo anymore, but like seeing what's going on with like Qi'ra. So like, I don't know if we would call it Han Solo 2 or Solo 2, but like a continuation of the events like at the end of Solo. That's what I would love to see.
I mean, we saw Darth Maul at the end of Solo, and that was very like, what? If you're not
right,
you don't
can't
know
like
that
just,
Darth Maul didn't die.
You can't just like leave that off and like not continue that story. Like, what's he doing? Like, what's him and Qi'ra up to? Like,
I think we'll get that in Kenobi a little bit. Sorry, Rae, go.
I hope so. I think it have to do with the Lando stuff. They might be incorporating Han into that secretly. Or I would love like Brooke said, a Solo 2 that follows more like Qi'ra and what she's up to with Darth Maul.
Well, yeah, I guess to go back to the original point, I can see it either way that Bob Chapek misspoke, or there might be something. But I'm kind of inclined to say he just misspoke, if I'm 100% honest. But I don't know. David, what do you think? You brought it up.
Yeah, it's one of those tough ones. It could either go either way because we had all the Make Solo 2 stuff happen. It was trending on Twitter. It's a day that happens every year now. But one of the big developments that happened, a major character from Solo actually returned to the comics. And they just released an issue. And apparently, during the transit where Boba Fett took Solo and Carbonite to Jabba's palace, Solo was stolen from Boba Fett. And the person who was behind all that in the comics was, I guess is a spoiler for the comics if you haven't read it, if you're reading the comics. It's Qi'ra. Qi'ra's back in the Star Wars universe. So maybe they have plans for Emilia Clarke to rejoin Disney or Star Wars. She's already back with Disney. She's going to be in Secret Invasion with Marvel. So maybe there's a chance for her to kind of reprise her role. And I totally agree with Brooke that maybe there shouldn't be a Solo 2 happening. Maybe there should be an inclusion of those characters to a future show or an unannounced show like Crimson Dawn. I mean, that's something I think all the fans have been kind of asking for and thinking that, yeah, that's a very kind of commonsensical show to actually be announced and to happen, because you have Darth Maul, Ray Park's ready to go. You have Emilia Clarke. They could do flashbacks, of course, with Dryden Voss. And Dryden Voss actually might be appearing in the Bad Batch, I think. There's a possibility for that. So, because we all saw him in Clone Wars Season 7 off to the side. So, yeah, I'm totally down for anything involving those characters in Solo. And of course, Alden Ehrenreich is around. He's still acting. He's still doing stuff. And of course, you got the new Chewbacca, Jonas Swatamo. So those guys they're still in it. They're available. They're active. And we haven't heard anything for Lando. That's one of the shows that some people are kind of confused on because Donald Glover wasn't announced, and we know he's not signed yet. And if he is signed, we don't know about it. And we do know that he just signed a big deal with Amazon to do new content for them. So I don't know. It can go either way with that misspeak there, but it got a lot of people excited. Well, a lot of people on the Solo 2 bandwagon.
let me say this. Let's talk about Book of Boba Fett for a hot second.
Okay.
I kind of think they need to make that a standalone show in some way, right? And so they need to develop Boba Fett's character in some way.
Right.
And they still haven't really explained how he got out of the Sarlacc pit, right? In live
Right.
action or anything. They mentioned that it kind of happened in Mandalorian. We haven't seen that. So I kind of wouldn't be surprised if they show like a lot of older stuff during Return of the Jedi era, right? In that show. And so then maybe we see even Han Solo and Carbonite for a hot second or something, or maybe Qi'ra shows up. I mean, I wouldn't rule it out that we see those characters in Book of Boba Fett. I mean, if they're making a whole show about Boba Fett, I would imagine they would in some way give his origin, quote unquote, post Return of the Jedi. So there you go. I'm just throwing that out there. It could be thrown in with that. I can't imagine they just kind of leave us off where we're at after Mandalorian season 2 in Book of Boba Fett, and we kind of just go from there. I think they have to in some way develop those characters.
I feel like they're gonna have to do like some kind of like flashbacks and stuff. Just like it would just make sense, and also just it's just cool to get to see those flashbacks and like see a little bit of Han. Maybe he's like one of those like really like quick little like blips for you to see like a little bit of him, but like.
Yeah, I want to see Han Solo and Carbonite if they could like do something. Because I mean, come on, if you're in Jabba's palace, you gotta nod to those things. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some like Max Rebo something maybe, or I know Colin's not here. I was looking around. It's like, oh no,
we see like the remnants of the piano in the corner. Or something.
You guys want to just talk about Max Rebo for 20 minutes? Just
for the entire podcast without him? Do you know how mad he would be?
I'm going to make him a shirt that just says, "Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior, Max Rebo?"
Oh my gosh. You'll never stop. You'll never stop wearing it.
With Rebo, his wife, and like his 2 little kids. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Sam. The Boba Fett show, we have to hit the ground running. And bringing established characters, maybe Alden, I think would be the way to go to kind of tie in and connect more stuff. I was kind of wondering this week, and I think I've been wondering for a while now, are Favreau and Filoni getting a mandate from Disney to do more tie-ins since it worked so great with season 1, season 2 of Mandalorian? I mean, it's a cash cow. I mean, it brings in so much money now, and that makes you wonder about Grogu's involvement. And are we going to see Grogu in Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett? I mean, that's a possibility. So,
yeah, I mean, I personally hope they try to like. I hate when they just throw like, oh yeah, and this character was here during this time, which there's no reason that character should have been in that part of the galaxy at that time in the timeline, right? So I kind of like to minimize that stuff. It's cool here and there, but I mean, personally, I hope they kind of just tell their own story with all new characters if they could, with some ties in, because you need that in some way. So I guess that's what I hope, but I get that they want to throw as much stuff connecting things as possible. But I mean,
yeah,
the original Star Wars movies weren't good because they had nothing to tie into, but that's what made them so good. So.
Yeah, I love like meaningful tie-ins where it's like it makes sense that like a character would be there. Like it's really cool, and like I love how like it's all connected. So I love to see that. But when they throw things in that just to throw things in just for fan service, that's when I'm kind of like I don't like that.
I know we were having this conversation. I think I was with Colin at least about the pod racer engine in Mandalorian season 2 being Anakin's. And I know we've had this discussion before. Yeah. But if for whatever reason they did canonize that, like that's the kind of stuff that's like, no, that makes zero sense. And that's totally just to
right.
do it.
Exactly.
That would be an example of a not good tie-in.
Yes.
So did we get a final verdict on that? That's not Anakin's pod?
I don't think it is. I think it might be a similar model.
Right.
That's my thing. At the same time, I guess it could be.
I don't think we have any like official. I think most of the consensus is not, but I don't recall seeing any like official like yes or no.
See, but I've talked to people who are like absolutely convinced it is the pod racer engine from Phantom Menace. So,
well, I think at like the very least it could be like the same prop or model used from the film. They could have just like recycled it, but like storyline wise, it would be different. So it's like a different model kind of a thing. So they look the same, not actually the same piece in universe. I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
the current situation is Patissa and Moochie.
Yeah.
People
my
are thinking
goodness.
that was the Rancor that Luke killed in Return of the Jedi, but it's clearly not. It's
I'm trying to rationalize that because it seems weird to me that like Jabba would have 2 Rancors in around kind of the same couple decades. Like
Yeah.
I don't get why Moochie would not be the Rancor from Return of the Jedi, because why would they have 2 Rancors?
But why not?
Why not?
Why?
I mean, I
yeah. Why does he?
guess-
Why does
I
he just have
guess.
to have
I talked
one?
to Colin on the phone for like 45 minutes about this.
You should have
Literally about.
recorded it.
I know he said that multiple times. Said, "Why aren't we podcasting?"
We just need to
Um,
start. Anytime we have a Star Wars conversation, we just got to be recording. You never know; it might be
Recording
good. Yeah.
Always. I don't know. I kind of think they retro canonize the fact that that was Moochie in Return of the Jedi.
So I feel like it's not, because you kind of form a little bit of an attachment to Moochie, right? Like it's like they save her, right? They said it was a she.
Mhm.
For that to be the Rancor that like Luke Skywalker is going to like slaughter, it just kind of feels dirty.
But why would
You know?
why would you have
Like-
freaking Bid Fortuna there, right? Show up with a Rancor. Hey, we know Bid Fortuna. We know a Rancor that exists.
Because it's all under Jabba's palace.
like
but
there is not a
it doesn't have to be
there
the
is not
same
a
one.
single like casual viewer who watched that episode who did not make, oh my goodness, it's the Rancor from Return of the Jedi. And because people have that, that's the only possible reaction you could have to watching that episode. Like, no, I when I saw it, I was like, oh shoot, it's the Rancor from Return of the Jedi.
No, because that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh no, like that was my reaction. Like, oh no, I saw this legit Rancor be murdered. So that's why I feel like it can't be.
I don't know. I don't care.
But I think I don't know if it was Colin who I was talking to who said like if that was that Rancor, why would his or her trainer not be there? You know.
Yeah, Maliki.
that's what I brought up to him, so he must have gotten that from me.
So yeah, like I said, I don't remember who I was talking to. So that was a good point.
Yeah. I mean, they clearly that I don't remember what's the Rancor from Return of the Jedi's name. I didn't know that name until
Patissa.
Patissa.
So-
I didn't know that until this last week.
Yeah, so yeah, that's an Aftermath, a novel by Chuck
Okay.
Wendig. He names the Rancor, and yeah, Patissa is male, and Moochie is female. And I totally
There you
agree with
go.
Brooke. I mean,
There
it
you
could be 2 different Rancors. I mean,
Yeah,
we might
it
find out in the
could.
Book of Boba Fett that Jabba has a huge, like, underground bullpen of Rancor cages. I mean, you don't
That
know.
sounds like a very Jabba thing to have.
yeah. So
Or maybe Moochie will show up in Book of Boba Fett as well.
that's a possibility,
I
or
don't know.
other
I don't know.
stuff. I mean,
I don't know.
yeah. So did you guys see the story about Disney Plus changing the Rise of Skywalker?
I saw
No.
it, that it happened.
No.
It's
What
just,
is
It's
this?
just coloring, right? I haven't watched it
Oh,
since.
is that it?
So yeah, that's the major thing. So the Rise of Skywalker has a blue tint to it, and we don't know who approved it, what executive or even JJ wanted to do this, but they removed the filter that has like a blue tint on the film, so it matches the other films more closely. But there are other details as far as what they did. It's kind of vague, but it has to do with some of the subtitles as well. I don't think it's anything major. I think they changed some of the sound dissemination, but I mean, changing the movies, that's kind of like borderline, like that's kind of a no-no in a way, unless it's
I mean,
approved by George Lucas.
George Lucas changed
But
a
of
lot.
course-
changing
Right.
changing
Yeah.
coloring is one thing because that really doesn't
Yeah.
change the film. But going any deeper than that, that's kind of like ew. Like
I mean, we're in a weird time where they can do that, though. I mean, they removed Gene's guy from
Right.
Mandalorian. It's weird. Like we've never had that with cinema before, where they could retcon like release
Right. So
updates.
if we were back in time a little bit, we would have bought the DVD Blu-ray and would have had Gene's guy permanently
yeah,
and would have had to get a special edition to remove him. And also the helicopter from Boba Fett that they removed as well. So they could do these things. And it was like an eagle-eyed viewer that kind of noticed it and posted it on Twitter. Then it like kind of caught like wildfire. But yeah, there's an article here that says they also fixed the subtitles that the original theatrical and home release got wrong. They also fixed subtitles that the original, it's just multiple Twitter postings.
So would that mean that like when they released it, so whoever was transcribing the film messed up a couple of times and they corrected that?
I'm not quite sure. Like I said, it's kind of vague.
That doesn't seem too bad either, because you're not
Do we
really
need to do
changing the
Do we need to do a
film.
reaction video side by side?
Yeah.
Possibly.
So like if we own the DVD, it's going to be different.
Yeah. Does anyone own it?
The Rise of Skywalker? Did I?
Yeah.
think
on
I do.
home video.
I know I have the other 8.
I was going to say, I definitely know I have the other ones. I don't remember if I bought that one.
Wow.
I wasn't crazy about it. If I'm 100% honest,
Run
it
to the
feels
store
the
right
need
now.
I want to buy a copy. I'll buy a copy eventually. I promise you. But right now, I'm still living with my parents. Unfortunately, working on that. But obviously, I can't.
Hey, there is no shame.
I know.
You
saving
live where
money,
you
it's
you
good.
live where you live.
I mean, me too. So
Yeah, there you go.
do what
It's
you got to do.
cheaper. That's the good thing.
So yeah, I'm kind of worried about like kind of what precedent it kind of sets for them kind of changing it like that. I mean, we don't
It doesn't really seem any different from what they did with the original trilogies, because you can't find the original copies of those anymore. And they changed a lot.
Yeah, I think in 2004 they re-released the original theatrical releases on DVD, and that was the last time official Lucasfilm original trilogy got released that was untouched. But yeah, Lucas doesn't want to ever release those to the public. But I'd buy them.
Why?
It wasn't his kind of like real.
Well,
I mean, it wasn't really what he wanted to show the public. He was so disturbed for the simple fact that they had to use camera tricks. They had to. The technology wasn't there, of course. I know when they rode on in the speeder into Mos Eisley, they put Vaseline on the lens to smudge out the wheels. And you can clearly tell that. Once we found that out, you can clearly see that on home video, how it looks kind of weird at the bottom.
Huh.
I didn't know
It
that.
wasn't.
That's
It was.
really-
Yeah, it wasn't his vision. He had a grander vision for
Okay.
Star Wars. But in a way, that helped the films, I think. It gave them more charm. And of course, us old fans, we fell in love with the original trilogy. And the use of Muppets and puppets was like the best ever. And it worked. I mean, it simply worked. And in Lucas's mind, it wasn't his final vision. And of course, when he had the opportunity in 1997 to re-release, he made all the touch-ups. But even still, it wasn't his final vision for what he wanted. Because he did, I guess I don't know who added it, but someone added McClunky. I think it was George, right? When Greedo says McClunky.
Wasn't until Disney Plus is released.
Disney Plus, yeah, that was the first time I ever heard it. I personally hate it. But
I'm completely indifferent. It's weird. But
it's just one of those things where I've seen the movie so many times, to suddenly add it just feels wrong and out of place to me.
I just don't know why. Like, who watched that and was like, "We need to add." I know what this scene needs.
Yeah, it didn't really add anything to this scene. I don't understand why. If someone has an answer, like, let me know. But
That's
just
fair.
to me, I just don't understand why it was necessary.
I'm still pissed about changing the song at the end of Return of the Jedi. That's the thing that if it's not humna, 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 ho, ho. I mean, that freaking banger, man.
Yeah. Yub Nub is a classic.
So,
Yeah.
I have the original on VHS, so I have the untouched versions. I do have copies of them, and I will cherish them. And those will be the versions that I will show my children.
Well. We have them on a shelf in the basement. Like, I look at them, they're beautiful.
Oh man, wow.
Well,
There you
back
go.
in the mid '90s, there was something called Laserdisc, which was like a huge CD, like a record. It was like a CD record hybrid almost type thing. And our school, I think I was in elementary school, they bought one, and I remember they'd show us stuff in science, and they'd pull out this big, huge CD, and I found out later on that Star Wars was released on those, and that was the highest clarity that you could see a Star Wars film without going to the movie theater. And of course, it hadn't been released yet, re-released at the movie theater. So I would hear stories of people like, yeah, that's the ultimate way to see Star Wars back in like what 1995, 94. But I never knew anyone that had a Laserdisc player because they were like super expensive, of course, because it was brand new technology. And people thought that was going to catch on, but of course it didn't. Kind of died off pretty quickly.
Well, while we're talking about that, I'm going to small piece of history, unrelated to Star Wars, but I guess kind of, sort of. They actually used to have HD VHSs were a thing, and you had to have like a special player for them. Look it up. It's like
Interesting.
Format didn't last, but there was actually, because then Laserdisc was also HD, so they had like HD formats, and then like the early 2000s came around, and those formats died out, and they had like standard definition stuff, and then it wasn't until like DVDs and stuff that had HD again. So there was like a chunk of time where we had HD and then didn't have any HD, and then had HD again. So there's like,
but what was the resolution
where you couldn't get things? I don't know, probably 720p would be my guess.
Okay.
I don't know. Did they even? Here's my question: when we had like Kathy Ray Tube TVs and stuff, CRTs, did they even have like a resolution? Or
yeah, it was 480,
okay.
480i, 480 interlace.
Okay, well there you go. I didn't know. I didn't know if like that was after the LED LCD era that we had more resolution.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We had a Laserdisc in my high school because apparently my science teacher had a movie on a Laserdisc, and it was the only way to watch it. And I'm like, if it's that old, is it still like up-to-date current science? But we had to learn off of a video played on a Laserdisc in high school. That would be like 2011.
Yeah, because they were the size of like records, right?
Yeah, they were huge.
Yeah, they were huge.
Weird.
It's wild. That's wild.
Yeah.
But they look like DVDs.
I think they were actually bigger than records. It was
I think
weird.
so. Not by much, but a little bit.
Yeah, but I was little, and everything that I see now looks smaller than what it was when I was little. Yeah.
You old man, you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be 40.
Oh no.
So, oh no. So the next thing I wanted to talk about, get away from that.
Back to Star Wars.
Yeah, was the information that dropped that production designer for Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 84 will work on the Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadron film. So it looks like Patty Jenkins is trying to bring in her kind of team that she's familiar with. And for me, I thought Wonder Woman was a pretty good film. It looked really good. So that goes to the production design. And 84 looked pretty good too. I liked the first Wonder Woman better than 84, but I think this is a good move on the part of Patty Jenkins to do this, that she has maybe a shorthand with the production designer. But what do you guys think as far as her bringing in people that she's worked with for this new Rogue Squadron film that we don't know a lot about?
I think it's a smart move. Because when you're building a team that you're going to make something, especially if it's like really big, you want people that you can trust and communicate easily with. And if they already have like shared experience on these two other movies, they'll already have like a vibe or wavelength that they're working on. So it'll make production smoother in that aspect. I know working in theater and then in college when I was on short films, if you don't have a team that blends well together, it's not going anywhere. So I think pulling in people that you work well with is a smart move.
Yeah, I'm right there. I mean, I think that's pretty typical for directors to choose the same core group of people. I mean, like if you're a director, you almost have the same director of photography and stuff. You almost always, those people are the same for every movie you guys work together with. So, yeah, I don't know. Not a big surprise.
They're going to know who they work well with and how like everything flows. So Totally makes sense.
So more information comes from StarWarsNewsNet.com. They're saying that Lucasfilm is indicating that the story will be set for Rogue Squadron in a future era rather than closer to the events of the original trilogy. And as such, there's some speculation that the story may be one of the first significant Star Wars projects set after the events of the Rise of Skywalker. So I know there's a rumor that maybe Daisy Ridley is in talks to return to Star Wars. And I'm totally for that. I mean, we set up her character. I think we all want more. I think there's a lot there, especially her and Finn. Finn being, now that we know that Finn is Force sensitive, make him a full-blown Jedi. Have him.
Yeah.
I mean, he can wield a lightsaber. He was pretty good in The Force Awakens. So I would love to see that stuff. And it seems like they're also, from that same article, they're going to do kind of what Filoni and Favreau did and pull stuff from Legends. So it looks like they're going to pull storylines and details from the old Rogue Squadron novels. But it seems like it's going to be set in the future. And of course, Rogue Squadron wasn't. So what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I'd love more sequel content, but that's just me.
No, I agree. And it would be really cool because, like, we have all these, like, Force-sensitive children out there. Like, Rey and Finn can kind of go out and just, like, educate them on, like, what they are. Because they probably have no clue. Like, it's been so long since anybody really knows who the Jedi are, even. To just kind of, like, almost rebuild it.
So do you think they would maybe reset up the Jedi Council and the whole Jedi Order? Or do you think that that's probably not the way they would?
I don't see that being like Rey's thing. Like, I don't really see that happening. I almost feel like the old religion might be a little dead, and maybe they kind of come up with a new kind of order. I don't know.
I don't know if we ever get like another series of things, like another, let's say 20, 30 years after the sequel trilogy. So, I think it kind of just ends here. There might be some like little things, but I don't think they go off and tell a whole other story post Rise of Skywalker. So, I don't think they're going to develop a new Jedi Order, or, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that somehow, some way, maybe in TV, we get Rey back, or we get the big three back: Rey, Finn, and Poe. And of course, we have the Clone Wars with the prequels. What's to say they don't do another animated thing for the sequel trilogy? I mean, that'd
be awesome.
That would kind of rhyme with what's been done in the past. So, and they wouldn't have to act per se; they could just do the voice acting, and I'd be cool with that. Because I want to see kind of what happens. And I mean, Rey just got her lightsaber. I want to see her in action.
Yeah, like I want to know.
I want to see that
what's
saber
next.
in action.
Yeah,
that's fair. I don't know.
All right, so we got the episode called Decommissioned from the Bad Batch. It's episode 6. So yeah, I just finished rewatching it. And I know Brooke brought up the fact that the big kind of revelation, non-revelation, was the very end of the episode. You see a figure appear, and we got Trace and Rafa back from Clone Wars season 7. And one of them reports to that figure, and of course Sam noticed that the reference of he, so we know it's a male. So I think the quick kind of assumptions and guesses and speculation was the fact that it could be Ahsoka, because her droid is right there, R7.
Yes, they have her droid, and she's the only link to the Martez sisters. Like, they didn't know anybody else. They were in the underbelly of Coruscant. Like, she's the only one who we ever saw interact with them. So we know that Ahsoka has to be like the middleman somewhere. Like, she clearly like brought them into everything, but I don't think that figure could have been her.
I think I know who it is. At least I have a pretty good idea. So getting real detailed, if you look at the texture and the color tones of the outfit that the figure is wearing, it's very, very similar to stuff that Bail Organa wears in the Clone Wars. So
I think that's
I
what
know
we're all thinking
that's-
about.
there's a lot of speculation that it's Bail. And if you like, I looked really closely, and like the textures are the same. He's got like a really similar like details around his neck, like shoulder. So I think it's a pretty good guess
that
that it
is
could be him.
a really good guess. Also, like in the Ahsoka book, like he's kind of like, because like Ahsoka kind of goes off and like does her own thing. Like I won't spoil the book, but like he's kind of the one who like how they like meet and how she kind of like ends up being Fulcrum. So he's kind of like the tie. So that would kind of make sense that it would be him also, thinking about it that way.
Yeah, I'd be so in favor for Jimmy Spence to come back. And he just got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame as well this past week, it appears.
I saw
So yeah,
that.
yeah, he's done a lot of stuff. He's been around for a long time. And yeah, he's I believe he is a Latino, so he's a part of my race. So I'm always all for more Latinos in space. And of course, he's been in Rogue One, and he was in the prequels as Bail Organa, and we got to see him in action there. But yeah, it's pretty cool. The other thing that I failed to mention a couple podcasts or several podcasts ago, or no, it was one podcast ago, because the voice actor that plays Sid, I guess because I'm an old guy, but it's Rhea Perlman. She was an actress that was on the hit sitcom Cheers for a long time. She was one of the bartenders, along with Woody Harrelson, of course, who played Beckett. And I would always wonder for a while, she was just kind of one of those actors that's like, what is she doing now? I haven't seen her in anything. Of course, she's married to Danny DeVito, and I think they both appeared in Matilda, right?
I know Danny DeVito's in Matilda.
Okay, so Rhea Perlman didn't. Okay,
I have
but
no idea.
of course,
I don't know who that is.
so yeah, Rhea Perlman is also the sister to Ron Perlman as well, and I think people were getting that confused. But yeah, so yeah, she's the voice of Sid, and I was like so shocked when I found that out. But yeah, Sid is back in this episode, and she reemploys the Bad Batch as mercenaries.
What was the name again?
Decommissioned.
Rhea Perlman, I believe it's
sorry.
Rhea.
Yeah, she's in it.
Yeah. So yeah,
Matilda.
yeah. Oh yeah. I think she's with her real life husband, Danny DeVito, in that movie. Yeah. So
Oh, is she
Armored
like
or something?
the mom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
So yeah, the Bad Batch get reemployed by Sid, and they go on a mission to get a tactical droid. I guess head. I guess maybe they're looking for the entire droid.
I think they were looking for the whole
Just
droid.
the head. Oh,
Yeah.
were they?
I think they were looking for the whole droid. Is my
That
estimate.
was the whole droid was the goal, but I think the head is what's important.
I think
Right,
in the
right.
droid universe, like the brain of the droid is still in the head. So like if they just got the head, they were chill. I think that's my understanding, because they just wanted
Okay,
like
I gotcha.
the what's the word, the
Data information.
Tactical
yeah, I
data.
guess. Yeah, well, because I was actually looking up about them, because I didn't really know anything about tactical droids. I'm 100% honest, but they were like smart droids, and they learned things about like the clones through the clone army. And so, like, if the rebellion can kind of know more about clones and how they operate and stuff and their tendencies, then that's valuable information. So that was my understanding. So and maybe that's why the Empire goes away from clones too. Speculation out there. If the rebels get all this insight, I don't know.
That's a possibility. Yeah, and one idea that I actually heard, it's not something I don't think any of us thought of, but the reasoning why Tarkin doesn't want the clones to be around it, he wants to just get recruits, is the fact that if the chips fail, all the clones will automatically know that something happened that wasn't supposed to happen, and them getting that order.
They'd be
just
pissed.
So
Could you imagine?
Right. So they would
Like
go back.
it's not like
against the Empire.
if they had the choice, I highly doubt they would have chosen to
Right.
kill all the Jedi. That's probably not what they have done at all. So to learn that you were manipulated like that,
Yeah, maybe that'll happen too. Who knows? That'd be kind of neat, or at least like a group of clones kind of has that revelation. We know obviously inhibitor chips can be like removed and stuff, so it's cool.
Which I'm really surprised that Clone Force 99 did not even remove them once they figured out they were there. Because like we see Wrecker, he hit his head and he's
so many times.
Like literally the first time it happened, I knew right away that I was like, he's gonna keep hitting his head and it's gonna like trigger the thing. And it semi did in this episode, and I was just like, oh, like why wouldn't like if I knew that I had a chip in my brain that might like make me go crazy, basically, I would like take it out immediately. I don't know. That's just me.
As soon as Wrecker said good, I screamed. He didn't even have to finish the sentence.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But he seemed to snap back out of it, so
he did, but just still,
it's probably just gonna take one more head hit.
Yeah, and he is reckless, so it will happen very soon.
My hope is that Omega knows about the chips, so she might know how to remove them or disable them or something. I don't know. That's the hope I'm clinging to.
I'm still waiting for her to be useful in some way. Nothing against her. It's just the show. Like I'm really enjoying. She's just there. I'm really enjoying the show, but it feels very much like almost a copy and paste of The Mandalorian. Like you got like a big tough guy or a group of big tough guys who adopt a child who gets them into trouble and is just kind of there and is special, but we don't know why.
Yeah, we have to get that reveal, right? I mean, Omega has to have a purpose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all kind of figure that. Yeah.
I think figuring out why a bounty hunter is after her is gonna kind of put those pieces together.
Right. We still don't know who employed Fennec Shand, so that's still a mystery. So still lots of ongoing mysteries here. But she did get better with that bow that she picked up.
She did.
So,
well, and the first time she shoots a blaster in like episode 2 or 3 or something.
She's like a crack shot, right? Yeah.
So maybe it's more of an instinct or a reaction thing, as opposed to like I don't know.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the show. I'm not really looking into getting huge revelations for the Star Wars universe, but yeah, I'm enjoying it for the most part. And I think we have about how many more episodes left? Is it 12 or 16?
I thought it was 16.
Episodes. Okay, 16.
16 or 18 is what I was thinking, actually, but I think it is 16.
Yeah, I think it's 16.
No, because it's twice as much as an 8-episode season.
Okay.
16.
Okay.
I remember making that connection in my head. So they have to develop a plot at some point. So when that happens, I'll be into it. Right now, I'm kind of like
I keep waiting because, like I said, I'm enjoying it, but I'm just waiting. Like I really wanted to see more of like the shift from Republic to Empire and like seeing that, and we just haven't really seen a whole lot of that yet.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like we haven't seen Crosshair, right? He's the one who's back with.
Yeah.
He's the last few episodes. What's he been up to? I don't know.
Yeah.
Evil.
Bad thing.
I just feel bad for him because he's not doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Sad.
So we have a bit of casting news. Robert Emms has joined the cast in a supporting role on Andor. And I don't know if anyone's been watching that show, Chernobyl, on HBO, but apparently he's on that show. And I heard Chernobyl's pretty good as a TV show. I know it's based on the huge disaster out in the USSR back in the day. And also Duncan Pow has been cast to reprise his role as Melshi from Rogue One. He's one of the characters that was named, but he really wasn't concentrated on. So if you rewatch Rogue One, I believe his name is said a couple times. And unless you're watching it with subtitles, you don't actually kind of realize what they're actually saying, but they're naming the character during the battle at Scarif. So that's pretty cool. I love it when they can bring back the older characters from the films, like Genevieve O'Reilly as Amon Mothman, kind of integrate them into future projects here.
So you think that'll be an Andor?
Yeah.
Your thought? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and of course, yeah, we're hoping for. I mean, we're kind of assuming that Jimmy Smith is going to be back in there because he's alive at that time, and
Cool.
it makes so much sense. So yeah, hopefully we have that kind of connective tissue there, and I think Star Wars does a pretty good job at it. So that's pretty much all I had for news. Does anyone else have anything that they wanted to add to the podcast?
Really quick. I mean, did we bring up that R7s in the last episode?
Yeah, we mentioned it a little bit.
I think we mentioned it. Yeah,
That's kind of a big deal, you know.
It is a big deal.
Yeah, Ahsoka's droid. So yeah,
because I think I don't know if I read it somewhere or that was it either Rex or Ahsoka or one or the other or both. They found the wreckage of R7 after the Order 66. I forget what planet they crashed down on. But they found him and put him back together. Did I make that up? Did I read that somewhere?
No, yeah, he was in pieces and he was re-put back together. So yeah, the droid. I don't know if it's a he or she, but
it's a droid. It's a they.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So does anyone else have anything they want to talk about? What have been your Star Wars thoughts this week? What have you been thinking about?
What have I been thinking about?
I don't know.
Lots of Star Wars stuff. So yeah, I've been actually thinking about not purchasing anything for a while and paying back all my debt from Galaxy's Edge.
That's bold.
But so Celebration is actually happening in May, and the hotels went online, and I was trying to get a hotel secured. And the funny thing is that they had the virtual queue again. And the last time they had it, they had this little running man in line for you in the virtual queue. And people made a patch of it, and they had him at Celebration 2019. But this time they just had green dots. And it was weird because I came to the assumption that you could click on the button before they went on sale, but by the time you got to the front of the line, maybe you could time it just right and be at the front of the line right when they went on sale, because there's a finite amount of rooms you can reserve. So I did that. It worked, and I wasn't all the way there right at I believe it was 2 p.m. Central Time, but there was only 100 people ahead of me. So I got in there and I got a room reserved. But of course, I didn't get the room or the hotel that I wanted. Of course, everyone wants the Marriott Convention Center, which is actually connected to the convention center. It's just, you just walk out your room and you're in Celebration. So, but there is a way that I think a lot of people didn't read the email, but if you carefully read the email, if you got a hotel reserved, you can actually email the organization that kind of runs the hotel blocks, and you can ask them to move you to the hotel of your choice. And if a room opens up, they'll do it. So there's a little tip there.
Cool.
The more you know.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to do that here before we publish the podcast. So I haven't yet. I just haven't had time because you have to write out a personal email and have your confirmation number and all that stuff. And when all that went down, I was at work and I was like, I just don't have time for this. But,
sure.
But yeah, I'm totally planning on going to Celebration. We all know that my daughter graduates next year, and the school calendar right now shows that she graduates in June. So Celebration's happening the last weekend of May. So I should be able to make it. And I'm thinking about driving. I'm probably going to drive from Texas to California. I've done the drive before.
How far of a drive is that?
I believe it's 2,000 miles. So I've done the drive before. I did it in 2018. But the benefit to driving, of course, is you can take all your gear and come back with all your merch safely, or relatively safely. You know what's happening to it when you drive back. So yeah, I want to finally wear my TIE Pilot at a Celebration, because I've always been afraid to take it on a plane. So, and I think Colin's going to go as well, and he's going to take his Mandalorian.
I know we're planning on it.
Yeah,
Definitely planning on it.
Yeah, I want to bring my short trooper if I can. That'd be really, really cool. But
You
I'll have to
gotta.
ship it. And
I
that's
think
the
you
whole
got it,
thing.
man.
Do you think I'll have a costume ready by then? What's
Worst
the deadline?
case, I want to have a Rebel pilot by then, and that's what I'd wear. And then I can do the run of the oh my goodness, what's his name? The Willow.
The ice cream guy.
Will Road Hood, yeah.
That's the one. Yeah, so I gotta do that. I want to be
You
part
just
of that.
need an orange jumpsuit, like
Yeah.
the hair, maybe a mustache,
Yeah,
and then the Camtono.
Yeah, you can get that ice cream machine for like $20-$30 on Amazon.
Yeah, a lot of people buy them. It's usually bought by Star Wars people, and now it's even been made more popularized by The Mandalorian. So
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. But Sam, I can tell you this: I can almost guarantee someone from your surrounding area in the 501st of the Rebel Legion is going to drive. So maybe if you could take your stuff and let them take it for you, if you don't,
that's a pro move.
Trust.
It's a pro move. Yeah, I don't want to drive across the country. That sounds bad.
That sounds awful. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds.
It's like
awful.
a 3 or 4 day drive from Michigan. So
no.
But see, the thing I found is if you're the one that's driving, time goes by way faster.
Yeah. I've
So-
driven to Los Angeles once from Michigan, but that's a doozy. So I would like to fly.
Yeah. So Ray, any updates on going to Celebration?
Colin's on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I pretty much am just like letting him fill me in, and I'm like, we going, we not? I don't know. He'll tell me.
Yeah. I'm just like, I am signed up on the newsletter if there's like tickets available or anything, but
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
will
there's going to
see.
be tickets available. Yeah, I don't think the ticket is the real kind of problem you need to worry about.
Because I would sure hope they're going to be 100% capacity by then. I'd be very surprised if they aren't.
By then, I would be extremely surprised if they're not.
Yeah, and so if you think about it, then they're only going to sell like right now. They have to think as if they won't be, So then there's no way they sold more than 30%.
I've already seen like a couple people in like some Star Wars groups like having to like get some refunds because they're not going to be able to make it now. So
yeah, and there's that whole
chances
thing
are-
too, where everybody's tickets roll over, and so then people aren't going to completely different side of the country. It's not going to, not everybody can go. So I think getting tickets won't be an absolute nightmare. Be a little tricky, but it'll be doable.
Well, we're also going to have the light ticket exchange back again, and of course the move from August to May, people are going to drop those tickets because graduation and whatever else is happening, just don't have those vacation days for that time or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's tickets. I don't think it's going to be a big issue. Just lodging and food. So and getting there, of course. So yeah. And I really want everyone to try and go. It'd be great to get an actual like picture of all of us together. I was hoping we were going to do it for May 4th, everyone be together, but it was a little, I guess maybe short notice, but and I was kind of on the edge, pardon the pun, going, but but I was able to make it. So it was awesome seeing you guys. Meeting Sam in person and seeing Brooke again, that was awesome. Yeah, it was a blast at Planet Hollywood.
Oh my gosh, that was so fun. I'd never been there before, and it was really fun. And my food was phenomenal. And our waiter, he was absolutely great. So good.
Yeah,
he was just like really interactive and really energetic, even though it was like what was it, 11 p.m. Like it was late. Our reservation was late.
Yeah, we used to have a Planet Hollywood here in San Antonio, but then it went away, and I never went to it. And that was actually, I think, my first time at Planet Hollywood as well. So
cool.
Yeah. So I guess that is it for this edition of the Star Wars Stuff podcast. And for Sam, Brooke, and Ray. But first, before we go, I want to say this. So if you want to support the podcast, definitely go check out Apple Podcasts. Even if you don't use Apple Podcasts, just go there anyways, write a review, give us 5 stars. It'd be a whole lot of help for the podcast. Also, we're on Twitter at StuffPod, Instagram, Star Wars Stuff Podcast, TikTok. I'm not quite sure if we've released any new TikToks since the last time. But we have a little bit of an archive there. And of course, Patreon. patreon.com. Patreon.com/Star Wars Stuff Podcast 2187. And of course, we released a bonus episode commentary with Colin and James. That's out already. And yeah, we got quite a bit of listens on that. And we're thinking about actually releasing a second weekly podcast. So I know James, Colin, and I are kind of in talks about maybe trying to schedule something. I told James anytime that he can podcast during the week, because I know his schedule is he's usually pretty busy on the weekends. That's when we usually record. So, and I know everyone wants to hear James's opinions on stuff. And yeah, we might be doing that in the future. And Sam, I know it's been a while, but don't be a stranger.
Sorry. Got a new job. I've had a lot of life things. So
yeah, I know we all got all kinds of life things going on. Yeah,
I haven't been out in a hot minute, and I was like, I need to get on the podcast again.
So yeah,
Stuff happens.
Yeah, definitely, pun intended. So
Yes,
for Sam,
fully.
Brooke, and Ray, my name's David. May the force be with you.
Always.
Always.